Wedding Wednesday. I'm Lindsay. I'm excited to bring another episode of Wedding Wednesdays to you. If you haven't already done so, email us at weddings@mode-event.com to get on our mailing list. Today's episode, we will be talking about invitation etiquette. A lot of couples ask us questions related to their wedding invitations, so we're going to take some time and talk about those. These questions can pertain to your rehearsal dinner, your dinner reception, an anniversary party, engagement party, essentially anything that has an invitation sent to guests to RSVP. For wedding invitations, when a parent has passed away, what is the best way to include them? While your mother or father who has passed away technically is not inviting your guests to your wedding, it is common to include their name on the wedding invitation in honor of their memory. Instead of saying Mr. and Mrs. John Smith invite you to the wedding of their daughter, we recommend this wording. The honor of your presence is requested at the marriage of bride's name, daughter of Mr. John Smith and the late Mrs. Jane Doe Smith, to groom's name, son of Dr. Tom Brown and Mrs. Susan Jackson Brown. For wedding invitations, when a parent is remarried, should you include the new spouse's name on the invitations? This depends on two things: who's paying for the wedding and how close you are to your step-parent. If your parents are contributing to the wedding costs in any way, we recommend including their names as a nod of respect to their contribution. Now, if your parents are not contributing to the wedding costs and you're not close with your parent's new spouse, we still highly advise having a conversation with your parent to make sure that no one would be offended if you decided to leave them off of the invitation. It's better to have a conversation early on versus having to deal with issues after the fact. If you'd like to include your step-parent's specific name, we suggest this wording. Bride's name, daughter of Mr. John Smith, and stepmother's full name, and the late Mrs. Jane Doe Smith. You could also vaguely include your step-parent by broadly including both families. Together with their families, bride's name, daughter of Mr. John Smith and Mrs. Jane Doe Smith, and groom's name, son of Dr. Tom Brown and Mrs. Susan Jackson Brown, request the honor of your presence at their marriage. And now, the most common question and one of the most awkward situations: what do you do when a guest writes on their RSVP card, like adds a guest, and you did not include them in your guest count and you did not include them on the invitation itself? A good way to prevent your guests from adding an additional +1 on the invitation is to literally spell out how many seats you have reserved for them on the invitation. We have X amount of seats reserved in your honor. If you have a guest that still adds a +1 on their RSVP card, it's completely acceptable and polite to say, while we would love to host your guests and have your guests join us, we do need to wait to see where the final numbers are and see if we can accommodate them. You can also blame it on the venue and say that the venue can only seat a certain amount of people. Your guests won't know exactly how many people your reception venue agreed to host, nor does your guest need to know that you simply don't want to shell out that extra money to host someone that you're not very close to or someone you may not have even met. Again, whatever the issue is, we recommend clearing the air as issues arise versus hoping that things will just smooth over. We know that your guests are very important to you, so we want to make sure that any issues are addressed early on, that way no feelings are hurt, and then you can fully enjoy your wedding day. If you have any additional questions related to invitations or just your wedding planning in general, email us at weddings@mode-event.com. We would love to hear from you, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys. I'm not going to use this at all, whatsoever. Okay, bye. I'm not using this either. Cut. Starting over. I would like to include